anybody associated with the Trump campaign who was making these claims to come forward with evidence of irregularities in the election or massive voter fraud. 4 years later, I still have seen none. So I ask you today, do you have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So, First Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First Senator.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
First Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I
And
appreciate
think
that,
all
but
of
my
our,
clock is
I'll
ticking,
answer
and I
your
want to
question. All
hear
of our
your answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question. Do you have evidence, yes or no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have the evidence, yes or no?
I traveled, Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay. You're not answering.
When you watch a confirmation hearing, it's easy to focus on the personalities in the room, the raised voices, the pauses, the tension when a nominee and a senator lock eyes. But what you're seeing here isn't about two individuals disagreeing. It's about something deeper, how the system tests whether someone nominated to be the nation's top law enforcement officer can separate personal loyalty from public responsibility. And in this exchange between Senator Alex Padilla and nominee Pam Bondi, that tension becomes unmistakably clear.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I begin, I just want to remind us all for the record that the 34 convictions, not indictments, convictions of former President, incoming President Trump were by a jury of his peers. Thank you, Ms. Bondi, for being here today, and I too would like to welcome your family and friends who are here.
Thank you.
Appreciated the opportunity to meet yesterday to learn about your priorities and discuss a number of issues that are important to me. But I got to tell you, as I reflected on our conversation yesterday and as I've observed the hearing today, I continue to have significant reservations on your ability to function as a truly independent Attorney General for your friend. Let's say you keep referring to him, your friend, President-elect Trump. So I hope you can address some of these concerns through your responses to my questions here. Now, the first issue area is something that we didn't get a chance to touch on yesterday. So I actually want to follow up on some of Senator Durbin's questions from earlier about the 2020 election. And to be specific, on the day after the 2020 presidential general election, you traveled to Philadelphia to appear alongside President Trump's then attorney, Rudy Giuliani. And together, you falsely asserted that President Trump had, quote, won Pennsylvania in that election. Now, I want to be clear, at that moment, there were still at least 1 million ballots left to be counted in Pennsylvania. Of course, President Biden went on to win the state by more than 80,000 votes. But in the following days, even after the results were clear, you continued to double down on the big lie, promoting falsehoods about election fraud and cheating without offering any actual evidence. And I remember it clearly because I served as California Secretary of State at the time, and I invited anybody associated with the Trump campaign who was making these claims to come forward with evidence of irregularities in the election or massive voter fraud. 4 years later, I still have seen none. So I ask you today, do you have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So, First Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First Senator.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
First Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I
And
appreciate
think
that,
all
but
of
my
our-
clock is
I'll
ticking,
answer
and I
your
want to
question. All
hear
of our
your answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question. Do you have evidence, yes or no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have the evidence, yes
I traveled,
or no?
Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay. You're not answering my question. If you have no evidence to offer, let me ask you this. Will you now retract your previous statements that Trump won Pennsylvania in the 2020 election, yes or no?
Oh, Senator, I traveled to Pennsylvania, and let me tell you what I saw firsthand.
Yes or
no?
no?
I didn't talk about California because I was not in California. I talked about
Yes or no? Last time I'm going to ask.
I talked about Pennsylvania because
Mr.
I was
Chair,
there.
I'm going to move on because she's
got a
clearly not
court
answering my
order
questions. And
to
I want to note,
observe.
colleagues, for everybody, members of the committee and everybody watching, that the attorney who stood beside Mr. Giuliani was making very similar statements. And he has since been disbarred from multiple jurisdictions for making these false claims about the 2020 election in court. And like Mr. Giuliani, as you've noted today, you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution just as an attorney. And now you're asking us to consider you to serve as the chief law enforcement officer in our country. So it's imperative, Ms. Bondi, that you subscribe to facts and evidence and not politically convenient conspiracy theories. Your job will be, your job will be to protect voters and election workers, not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the 2020 election. Then we'll move on to a different topic. 'Cause I know
Senator,
that's one
you were
that you're obviously
speaking.
not comfortable
May
with.
I speak? You
I
cut
want
me
to ask
off
you the
when I
next
was
question.
speaking.
You can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi.
Well, I'd
now,
like
when
to
we met
answer
yesterday,
the previous one, Senator.
when we met yesterday,
You pointed your finger at me and
you
said
did not
you were
seem
speaking.
to be familiar
Let me answer
with
my question.
the
I'm not going to be
Citizenship
bullied by you,
Clause, the
Senator
14th
Padilla.
Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you
And I'm
didn't want to
hoping you're
hear
more
my
familiar
answer
with it
about
today
Pennsylvania.
after I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed
No,
as
you're
Attorney
the one
General,
asking for a confirmation
hey,
vote,
you
ma'am.
cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for today.
So on the 14th Amendment, now you've testified repeatedly to this committee that you will uphold the laws of this country and defend the Constitution of the United States. Do you believe birthright citizenship is the law of the land, and will you defend it regardless of a child born in the United States, regardless of their parents' immigration status?
Senator, I will study birthright citizenship. I would love to meet with you regarding
Ma'am, you're
birthright
asking us to
citizenship. Can I
consider
answer
to
the
serve as the
question?
Attorney General of the United States, and you still need to study the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? That is not helping me have more confidence in your ability to do this job. One other immigration-related question, I'll steer clear of the
I have
Constitution
one
and the
regarding
law.
that I'd like to
Senator
talk about.
Hirona asked you earlier, but I don't think you answered her question. Can you please tell us, do you agree with the statement that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, yes or no?
I did not say that.
I did not say that you said that. I'm asking if you agree with it, yes or no.
I did not say that.
Do you agree with it, yes or
Senator,
no?
my great-grandparents are immigrants.
Do you agree with it,
They
yes or no?
came here from Sicily
Do you agree
through
with it,
Ellis
yes or
Island
no?
when they were teenagers.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, let me answer the question.
Yes or no? It's
My
real simple.
great-grandparents came here, immigrated to this country from Sicily, recently went and found each of their birth certificates. We are a nation made up of immigrants. Do I believe immigrants are poisoning our country? No, Senator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I can't wait for the second round.
Same, Senator. Thank you. No, sir. Thank you.
From the moment Padilla begins, he sets the tone. He isn't asking about personal opinions. He isn't trying to score a moment for social media. He's doing something that's fundamental to the confirmation process, trying to figure out whether the person seeking this job understands the weight of it. Because the Attorney General is not just another cabinet official, it's someone expected to operate at a distance from politics and uphold the Constitution, even when the pressure comes from the very administration they serve. So when Padilla raises concerns about independence, he isn't talking about party preference. He's talking about whether the job can be done without favor or fear. And that's where the entire hearing begins to pivot, because Bondi has publicly referred to the president-elect as a friend, and senators are trying to understand whether that relationship would impact her judgment, not in a speculative way, but in the constitutional sense. Can the Attorney General act impartially when loyalty is tested? This is where the hearing turns to the 2020 election, not to relitigate it, but to examine Bondi's past public statements and understand how she interprets evidence, authority, and responsibility. Padilla asks a direct question. Does she have evidence of widespread irregularities? He isn't asking to challenge the result. He's asking because the Attorney General's power rests on the ability to distinguish verified facts from assumptions. And the way a nominee handles evidence under pressure tells the Senate a lot about how they might handle evidence in office. But instead of a direct answer, the exchange becomes a struggle over framing. Bondi repeatedly tries to revisit the context of her presence in Pennsylvania, while Padilla tries to return to the simple yes or no structure that confirmation hearings rely on. And this back and forth isn't just two people talking past each other. It's a demonstration of how critical precision becomes when discussing elections, because vague or incomplete answers can create confusion at a national scale. And then comes the moment that shifts the mood of the room. Padilla asks about the 14th Amendment, not as a trivia test, but because the amendment defines one of the cornerstone principles of American citizenship. Birthright citizenship isn't just a legal detail. It's a foundational element of how the United States has defined membership, rights, and belonging for over 150 years. So when Bondi says she would need to study the 14th Amendment further, it triggers concern from a senator trying to assess whether a future attorney general possesses deep fluency in constitutional doctrine. That pause, that uncertainty, becomes part of the larger narrative. Is the nominee prepared for the scope of constitutional interpretation required by the office? And yet, as this unfolds, another layer appears. Padilla isn't just testing knowledge. He's examining whether Bondi can navigate highly sensitive national conversations without inflaming them. When he raises a quote about immigrants, he's not accusing her of saying it. He's evaluating how she responds to statements that carry weight in public policy debates. Her eventual answer, pointing to her own family's immigrant roots and directly rejecting the sentiment, is one of the clearer moments in the exchange.
But the broader point remains. Confirmation hearings aren't only about the answers a nominee gives. They're also about what those answers reveal regarding judgment, preparedness, and independence. And independence is the thread that runs through everything here. Independence in handling elections, independence in interpreting the Constitution, independence even when long-standing personal relationships are involved. What makes this moment compelling isn't conflict, it's what the conflict exposes. It shows a nominee navigating the hardest part of public service, separating past roles from future responsibilities. And it shows a senator trying to determine whether the person before him can step into the role of attorney general with the ability to prioritize the Constitution above all else. In the end, that's the heart of this exchange. It's not about who spoke louder or who interrupted more. It's about what it means to hold one of the most powerful legal positions in the country, and whether the nominee's record, responses, and reasoning align with the demands of that office. This hearing forces us to confront the complexity of governance, where law, loyalty, constitutional interpretation, and public trust all converge at the same table. And as this dialogue continues, one thing becomes clear. Moments like this are not simply about politics. They're about understanding the guardrails of our democratic system, and whether the people chosen to protect those guardrails are ready to carry that responsibility.